Well, I told you last week that I knew exactly who I was going to have in the studio, and there he is. I got Clayton from Eppig Brewing sitting with me all week. We've had him in here for a quite fine selection of beers. I will say the one you impressed me the most with was the one you started the week off with, your beach beer. First of all, it was the first lager you've ever named because we covered it earlier in the week that Eppig has always named its lagers kind of typically to what your Germanic brewing roots are.
Yeah, the style.
Yeah, it's the style. Literally, his Festbier is called Festbier. The lager is called lager, special lager.
Zwickelbier.
Yeah, who knows what a Zwickelbier is? I do. I know he does, but I mean, it's a very interesting marketing tactic if you think about all the fun kitschy beer names. But you took a Mexican style Vienna lager and then called it beach beer, and I do appreciate the fact that you took something that was a little more complex than just your normal everyday highly carbed light yellow lager and just give it a little extra depth.
Yeah, we really like to have that extra special scalpel of a hand that kind of just sharply defines a style, and I think that beach beer really found its place with that.
So exacting German roots.
Yeah. high scale nerdery.
Yeah, it is very much high scale nerdery, and I appreciate that. I like when the craft is taken to the next level, and I think you guys definitely do that with the beer you made. I forgot what is the significance of Eppig. I know that name actually dates back to. Is it pre-Prohibition?
Pre-Prohibition, yeah. My partner, Stephanie Eppig, one of the co-founders of Eppig Brewing, her family moved from Bavaria, the kind of Texas part of Germany.
You call it Texas of Germany?
They kind of marched to the beat of their own drum. And in the 1860s, they moved to Brooklyn, New York, and opened Eppig Germania Lager Brewing. And for 70 years had a successful, expansive brewing empire, really. They actually made it all the way to and then through Prohibition during that period by making non-alcoholic beer.
What?
Yeah.
I did not know that. You just dropped some news on me that in this, 6-7 years we've been hanging out. This is the first time you told me that.
Well,
that I can remember.
They were making perfect, wonderful beer that had a great scope around New York City. And then during Prohibition, they got kind of pushed down, but in order to keep everybody employed and keep the breweries cranking, they were making cereal beverages and non-alcoholic beer, which in those times, to make non-alcoholic beer, you made beer and then you boiled off the alcohol. What's to say some beer may or may not roll out the back door and be distributed by, perhaps, Dutch Schultz, the beer baron of the Bronx or Brooklyn, whatever his name was, and move out and create success and an alternative for those in need. Well, that's how the Eppig company succeeded, but right after Prohibition, the partners they had been dealing with saw it fit to snatch that brewery away and sell it for pennies on the dollar. I'm sure they all made out very well. The Eppig family went on and did other things, but there's 150 years worth of brewing history with that Eppig name, and we relaunched the brand in 2016, saying, hey, nobody's making lagers in San Diego. I mean, there's a few out there. You know, we've got our friends at Carl Strauss, and every year a few people pop some out, but we're like, what if we kind of focused on that, especially with like the clinical precision that we really, as brewers, really cared about.
I think clinical precision is the defining term for Eppig Brewing because you can taste it in the beers. We've had the beach beer, the fest beer. Their fest beer is second to none. Like around Oktoberfest season, there's the Marzen style and there's the fest beer style. I would imagine, and I've had a lot of fest beers, but yours is the closest to what if I was over in Munich right now, I'd be having a giant glass stein full of, and it is damn delicious, and I always look forward to this time of the year. So thank you for your clinical precision in brewing that beer.
I hope more people like it. It definitely makes me excited. That it definitely makes me excited that more breweries are finding the Wiesen style fest beer as an option. I love Marzen, I think, as much as you do.
Oh, yeah. Give me those caramely flavors. Give me that both. Dark amber beer.
I want them both.
I do want them both.
Yeah, I think you can have both in both sittings. So it makes me excited that this style, that fest beer style is finding its tracks.
Well, and of course, being a San Diego brewery, you have a plethora of different style hoppy beers. Try This was one of the ones that definitely stood out to me. We did the 1045 to Denver. And then are you ready to talk about this last beer? Because we're just about out of time here on this pre-roll. And I'm curious about the name. Are you ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
All right, hold on. It has come to a Friday, and all week I've been hanging out with Clayton from Eppig Brewing, just talking about all the amazing, surgically precise beers that he's been making, like their Festbier, which, of course, this weekend is the third, not one, not two, but third Oktoberfest party he is throwing in La Jolla around this beer. Beach beer, try this, 1045 to Denver, and I don't know, have I had Wake Up and Slay before?
Wake Up and Slay was generated from the International Women's Brew Day a few years ago. Our tasting room manager, Maria, shout out at the time, came up with the name to Wake Up and Slay. We wanted to make, 1045 Denver's our year-round popular contemporary West Coast IPA. This was meant to be even more current. It has that lighter body, that straw color, more of the tropical notes that you can get from Simcoe, Citra, a little touch of Mosaic, not so much, and that promote more of those tropical fruit notes. So to Wake Up and Slay with a little bit more ABV on it too, at 7.5%.
Woo!
Just
Maybe I should slow down my drinking of this beer.
Yeah, the old adage of you can't drink all day if you wake up in the morning. I don't recommend that you do this beer all day because it's going to pop.
Yeah, this is not my shower beer, sorry. But I do enjoy that more tropicality. Having had 1045 to Denver yesterday, getting that grapefruit pithiness. This is more on the cusp of Fruity Pebbles without being too sweet or too overpoweringly tropical.
Right. As IPA as a style has grown into many iterations, we recognize that there's a multi-based IPA fan group and then what I would call the more progressive current style, which is that sort of tropical fruit forward with less punishing bitterness. And it's nice to be able to offer both those things.
I love this 1-2 punch. You found a fantastic way to end the week. And this when was the original brewing of this for International Women's Brew Day?
I think it was back in 2018.
Good God, it's been that long.
Like Pink Boots Society, the women's society in San Diego and around the country that features ladies in the brewing industry. It started with that. Then during International Women's Brew Day, we came together with a recipe and the team named this beer, and it started as a one-off, and it was like, hey, I think we have something there. And as all good beers grow organically, it's taken on a life of its own, and it's catching up to 1045.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Here's to the badass ladies of brewing, and as we wrap up this Friday, I know one to pair with perfectly with this song. Can we go out with some Joan Jett?
Let's do it. She's the best.
Boom, just like that. We are done. This is so good. And can contrast this beer against 1045 to Denver yesterday. It is so fantastic to see that one brewery can do both styles so extremely well. So thank you. I appreciate your craft this week, sir.
Yeah, thank you for having us. And I always want to thank the people that taught us. We didn't invent brewing. We learned from really, really smart people. We took that knowledge, we expanded it, and that's what you should ask from anyone who produces anything for you. How do they take up the game? And that's what we're always trying to do.
I think Tom Nickel nailed the very famous quote that if I've seen a little farther, it's because I've stood on the shoulders of geniuses.
Heard.
All right. Next week, I have no idea. This time, I don't really have anything booked. I'm trying to see if I can get Steve-O from Three Punks in. Maybe Remy from Hopnonymous. Maybe somebody we've never even had on before. But you're going to have to tune in next week to find out.